Hi, I'm Beth. And I'm Lindsay. Welcome to our Get Organized video series sponsored by Janome, Northcott, and ThermoWeb.
The new year is the perfect time to get your home organized. And we'll be here each Wednesday through February 20th to help you do it.
We'll be sharing stylish storage projects, ideas for storing your fabric and tools, your organization personality, and a fun sewing themed quilt along.
So let's get organized.
So happy Valentine's Day week, everybody. We really think you should spend some time this week doing something you truly love, like maybe sewing. We're going to show you how to make this really cute mini rotary mat holder.
Hi, I'm Beth, and today I'm going to show you how to make this mini rotary mat holder. It's a great way to use those pre-cut 2.5-inch strips, and we're using this French macaroon line from Northcott. We're starting with our 2.5 by 16-inch strips, and we're going to sew these together in the order you'd like them on your mat holder. When you're sewing long strips together, you want to alternate the direction that you're sewing. So what we've done is sewn our 2 sets of pairs together, and then we'll flip these and sew these together, and that way we're sewing down the opposite direction. An easy way to keep track of the direction you're sewing is have a slightly different color in the bobbin as your upper thread, and that way you can keep track of which side you had up previously. Once you've sewn your strips together, place those right side down on your ironing board and get your piece of fusible fleece. We are using Heat and Bond, and this fusible fleece has one side that's bumpy or rough, and that's the adhesive side. So that's the side that you'll want facing down on the wrong side of your fabric. And then we're going to grab our pressing cloth. And fuse that in place. So we're using a medium setting on our iron, and we have steam on. And you just want to hold this on one spot for 10 to 15 seconds and then pick it up and move it to the next spot. Once that's fused in place, fold in half, and we're going to top stitch along the folded edge. Using the same technique, sew together your 10.5-inch strips. And you'll want to be looking at the color placement. If you don't want them to line up, make sure you put them in a different order than you did the other strips. Now you'll take your smaller piece of fusible fleece and fuse that to the back side of your smaller strip set. Now we'll top stitch along the edge of the smaller folded unit. Once you have those 2 folded units ready, we're going to align the raw edges at the bottom and the sides and pin those together. And we're going to be stitching down the seam lines on the 2 outsides, and that will create a small pocket on each outside and then a larger pocket in the middle. Make sure you add a tacking stitch or a back stitch at the beginning and the end of the seam just to secure that a little better. This Janome has a really nice tacking stitch. Next, you'll take your 28.5-inch strips and sew those together, and then we're fusing our largest rectangle of fusible fleece to the back of that in the same way we've done the previous 2. So we've fused our fusible fleece to the back of our long rectangle, and then we're going to lay it out right side up on our table. The fused fleece part will be down on the bottom. And we'll take our pocket unit and lay it on top, pockets up, and then we're folding this in half, enclosing the pocket unit in the fold there. Now we will sew along all the raw edges. We're going to leave a 3-inch opening in the bottom for turning. Since we're sewing through so many layers here, I'm going to add the walking foot to the machine. This just helps all the layers feed through evenly. So grab your little screwdriver that came with your machine, and we're going to take off the foot that's on here and the little ankle. Once you have it loosened, you can go ahead and screw it the rest of the way with your fingers. And then we'll take our walking foot, and what you want to make sure to do is put this little lever up over the bar. You can just screw that in and finger tighten it, and then tighten it the rest of the way using the screwdriver. Now we'll sew all the way around, and don't forget to leave that 3-inch opening in the bottom for turning. Once you finish sewing around the whole piece, then you can turn it through the opening. So fold the bottom opening in, put some pins in there, and then we'll top stitch around the whole thing, and just be sure to catch all those layers so that you'll close that bottom seam. So we're using a 6x8 mat for the mat holder, and if you have a larger one, you might want to adjust where you're going to put the stitching line where it folds. But for this one, we're going to measure down 5 inches from the top, and then we'll mark a line and we'll stitch along that, and then that will create the fold. The final step is to sew a snap-on to the front pocket and the top flap, so that will hold the organizer closed. Now that we've sewn the snap-on, we can tuck our rotary mat inside, add some other little small tools, and we can take it with us to go. It tucks perfectly into a larger tote bag and is so fun to make. This is such a fun project to use those 2.5-inch strips for, and it doesn't take very much, so you could make a whole bunch of these. Really fun. And I really loved using this Heat and Bond fusible fleece in this project. It's really handy because it's fusible, it provides a nice structure but not too stiff, and it provides a nice little padding for anything that you want to put in there.
Yeah, like your sharp objects like scissors and rotary cutters. And if you're looking to do, you know, a similar type of thing as the fusible fleece, but maybe not as bulky, Heat and Bond also has fusible interfacing, which is a little bit not as thick, so that you can still provide that stability, but not have it be so
puffy.
So puffy.
Yeah.
Yep.
We used that in the fabric bin project from week 1, and that really provides a nice structure to the bin.
Yes. And if you're, so the fusible fleece comes in, it's like 22 inches by 1 yard. So you want to use it on things that don't require a lot. So things like pillows, or like fabric bins, or tote bags, or like home decor projects. If you are making something like a larger quilt, you want to choose a batting, and then you can use Heat and Bond spray based for that. So we've used it in multiple projects.
Yes, it's very handy for that and really easy to use, sticks really well, and then you don't have to do a ton of pinning, which is a really nice time saver.
Yeah, and it's repositionable too, so it holds really tight. So when you're quilting over it, or you're just holding, you know, fabrics in place, it doesn't move around while you're sewing, but if you lay things down the wrong way and you need to peel it off and put it back down, it is repositionable, which is really nice.
Yes.
Okay, and we have one more product that you have seen us use. It is Fabric Fuse, and it is a liquid adhesive that ThermoWeb makes, and it's really great for holding things permanently to your fabric, like embellishments, so things like ribbon or rickrack or buttons. It will hold permanently. It's washable when you're done, so it's a really great way to add some of those tinier embellishments, because it comes out, you know, in skinnier,
A little finer tip.
yes, instead of trying to cut other fusibles really skinny. So this is a great option if you are somebody that adds embellishments to your projects. So now we wanted to transition and talk about something ThermoWeb is really well known for, which is their iron-on fusible adhesives, and they have a lot of different types. So we wanted to talk a little more about them, because we know when you're going to the store, it can be really overwhelming which one to pick for all of the different project types you may be doing. So this one, the red packaging, is their Ultra Hold. It is a no-sew fusible, which means that when you're using it for things like you mostly use it for applique, you do not need to stitch through it to hold your shapes in place. So it's really permanent, it holds your fabric really, really tightly, no stitching, and it's washable. So once you fuse something in place, it is not going anywhere. You just want to make sure that you're following their washing instructions. So it is like washing on cold water. You want to dry it on low if you have to dry it at all, just to make sure that it does not start to ravel over time.
Well, that's a nice time saver though, and if you want to get a project done quickly and not stitch through it. So
yes,
nice time saver.
Yeah, so the next one we're going to talk about, so this is Heat and Bond Light, and it is sewable. So when you're using this for your applique shapes, you do need to machine stitch through, so you can choose your applique stitch of choice, whether that's blanket stitch or zigzag, or if you're just doing like a straight stitch for a little more raw edge look. But this is lighter weight, so it provides that temporary hold you need to position your applique and then stitch around it. Okay. But it's not going to gum up your needle with all of that adhesive, so it just is, you know, a nice tight finish to let you stitch things in place. And it doesn't keep, like none of these products make your project really stiff. Like it will all wash out, the fusible will, so you're not stuck with like huge pieces of your quilt or your projects that are like stiff and not movable. And we should point out about these products, like these are rolls, so fusible sold like 17 inches wide. So you have to keep that in mind when if you're doing larger appliques. And then the rolls are 5 inches. These packages are 1 yard if you're just doing a little, and they also sell them on the bolts. So if you are somebody that does a lot of applique or needs a lot of fusible, you can buy those on the bolts too.
Yeah, and this one is 5 yards, and that one looks like it's a little bit more, 5.25 yards.
Okay, and then the last one we wanted to talk about, which this is a very fun product from them. It is their soft stretch fusible. So it actually is meant to be used on stretchable fabrics like knits and jerseys, fleece, flannel, anything that has a little bit of stretch to it. So when you're appliquing those, it keeps the stretch on the fabric so that your final piece is still, you know, keeps the original fabric feel in your project.
So it doesn't get all stiff. Yeah, you can still stretch it. That's really nice.
Which would be great for t-shirt quilts if you make a lot of those, or you're cutting shapes out of t-shirts to applique on other projects. Very fun.
And then last we've got our hem tape here in some different weights too.
Yeah, so similar to your double-sided fusibles, they also have hem tape that come in the different holds, and they sell them for different weights of fabric too. So like if you're working with really heavy fabrics that need like a very strong strength, like corduroy or denim, you'll want to make sure you're buying the right kind for your project. But great for finishing home decor garments.
Yep, I know a lot of people use this for curtains, so hemming curtains. If they're too long, yeah, you can just then iron it on and you don't even have to stitch. So
yes,
it's a very quick way to do that.
Yeah, or if you have an emergency pants hemming situation you need, hem tape would be a great option for that. And you can buy the sewable kind too. So if you just want to hold everything in place and then sew your stitches for that nice finished look, you can do that as well. So lots of great fusible options from ThermoWeb. There's a lot of choices out there depending on what kind of finished look you want on your project.
Yeah, very great products to use. We've used them in every product every project we've done so far, and they're just a really nice way to finish those off.
Absolutely. So next we're going to share block 3 in our quilt along. had so much fun making that cute button block. So next week we're going to be sharing the ruler block and the finishing instructions so that we can finish our cute sewing theme mini quilt.
It's adorable. I just love it.
It's so cute. So next, Beth is going to show us how to make a really adorable zippered pouch.
Yes, and if you've never worked with zippers before, we've got some tips for you. I was a zipper newbie too, and
I've never done zippers.
This is a great project to practice zippers because it's a little small project, it's quick to do, and so you can work on that zipper technique. So it's really fun.
Yeah.
And we're making it with this really fun Heat and Bond iron-on vinyl.
Which this is like a game changer. If you have ever wanted to work with laminates, that you should definitely get this vinyl. It is so easy. We're going to show you how to use it.
Yes, but you can make basically any fabric into a vinyl fabric. So you're not limited to just what's available on the market in laminates. You can pick anything that you like that's in your stash or that you want to buy and turn it into vinyl. And you can get a bunch of these little pouches out of one of these rolls too. So really fun.
Okay.
So
here's what it looks like when you cut it.
Now we have our pouch is going to be, this is 8-inch squares of fabric, and we did cut this a little bit big. I recommend cutting this a little big and then putting it on, trimming that down, just because it's harder to match up the exact size. So this is a 9-inch square.
So you simply just peel the vinyl off, and it has one sticky side, and then, oops, it's staticky. And then you would lay this down on your fabric, but we cut this one a little oversized so that we could show you how to use the back of it. Don't throw that backing away. You're using it as a pressing cloth. So we've already layered our square of vinyl and our fabric, and then put our pressing cloth on top.
And then we're using a medium heat and no steam on the iron, and then you just hold it for about 8 seconds and then move it to the next spot. And then once you've finished the whole front, then flip it over to the back and do a little 4-second things just to make sure it's all secure on there.
Flat,
and then
vinyl can bubble. So if you don't have it perfectly flat, you're going to get sticky bubbles. So you want to make sure that you're really holding it flat. You're not rubbing it when you're ironing. You just want to press down.
And so we've already done that on here. Now once you've got it finished, leave it on the ironing board just for a little bit to let that cool, and then that gives you this really fun laminate. It's so
I love
so
it.
easy.
You can turn
it's really
all your
neat.
favorite fabrics into laminate.
Yeah. So now I'll show you how we're going to start putting the zipper in. So we'll take one of our squares and we're going to put right sides together. So this is the right side of the zipper with the pull on the top, and we'll line it up. And this is a 7-inch zipper. And then the thing with laminate is we don't want to use pins because that will poke a hole and that will be permanently in there. So you don't want to do that. So we're using these Wonder Clips. You could use tape, just basically anything that's going to hold that without poking a hole in it.
Great tip.
And then we've got our zipper foot on our machine. The great thing is this comes with the Janome 3160 QDC. And the cool thing about a zipper foot is you can attach it on either side. So whichever side that you need to be close to the zipper teeth on. So you can have it on that side or you can attach it on this side. So either way, it's just kind of like reversible. So that's really nice. So we want to sew closest to the zipper teeth. So we've got this set up so the needle is closest to the zipper teeth. So it's on the left side of our zipper foot. And then we're just going to try to get as close to that the zipper teeth as possible when we're sewing this on. So here's the trick with the zipper. Once you get down to the point where you're kind of sewing by the zipper pull, it's going to get a little bulky. So we need to move that out of the way. So sew with your needle in the down position when it stops. And then when you get down kind of close to the zipper, then what you want to do is lift up your presser foot, and then you'll have to turn it. This part is a little awkward. It's a little tricky sometimes to get the zipper pulled past the foot. If you need to, just pop the foot off, and then you can just kind of pull it past where you're sewing, and then pop that zipper foot right back on. And since you have the needle down, you don't get that shifting, so you should just be able to continue sewing right along that seam, and it won't even have a little bubble or anything in there. It's really a handy way to do that. So it's just super, super nice trick to do that. So I've already done that. And then now we fold this down, and you're just gonna finger press. Again, you don't wanna press with an iron with the laminates. And then kind of the same thing, we're going to top stitch now on this side. And so now we want the needle to be on the other side of our zipper foot. So we're going to switch that over, because again, we want it to be the closest to the teeth. And then we're just doing about 1/8 of an inch. And same thing here. Once you get down to that area where your zipper is, give yourself a little bit of room there. Lift up your presser foot and then just zip past where you're sewing. And then put back down, and then just keep going.
I would be so curious to know how many of you have used your zipper foot before. I know I've never used mine that came with my machine. Have you guys? Just seeing how easy Beth is making this makes me want to try.
Yeah, so isn't that easy? And it looks really nice. So do the same thing on the other side. And then once we do that, then what we're going to do is close the zipper at the top and then sew 1/4 inch down either side. And then you just kind of fold the zipper over. I would give a couple back stitches at the top there just to hold it. And then now we're going to sew up the bottom. So just make sure you have your zipper open when you sew that, because that's what you're going to do to turn it right side out, and you don't want to sew your bag closed completely. So I do need my 1/4 inch foot for this, so I'm going to switch that out.
So I love that these little pouches are vinyl, because you can actually wipe them off with just a wet cloth, and they're washable too. So you can use them for, makeup would be a great thing, like kids, like colored pencils or markers, because you can just wipe stuff off. Even like lunches.
Yeah, that would be a fun reusable sandwich bag or something like that. And you could even put the vinyl on the inside too if you want the inside to be washable as well. And then we're going to just leave this one flat, but you could also box the corners.
Yeah.
And the instructions are on the download for that. But
so these have boxed corners, and then we made this one without the vinyl on the outside. So if you don't want the vinyl or you don't have it and still want to make a pouch, same pattern, it just is a little more flexible, a little more softer, than the vinyl gives it some structure.
Yeah, and if you didn't want, if you wanted the soft with, a little more structure, some of that fusible stabilizer would be really great to use too.
This would be such a cute today's Galentine's Day. If anyone's celebrating that, it would be so easy to make a bunch of these for all of your girlfriends.
So yeah, you just kind of work that out, and then kind of work out the zipper in the corner, and then you've got your little pouch. Isn't that so fun?
I love it. This makes me want to conquer zippers. Okay, so next we're going to share our organizing personality of the week.
Week 3 is Organized Olivia. Organized Olivia is the least cluttered of the 4 personality types. Hers is situational clutter that occurs as a result of a specific unexpected event, such as an illness or a last-minute craft show where she wants to vend. For an organized person like Olivia to succeed, she needs to know exactly what she wants to do with a room, how she will organize every inch of her space, down to each shelf and bin. Characteristics. Her easy-to-work-in sewing room is efficient and functional. She dislikes leaving her well-organized room in chaos if she has to leave a project before it's done, making it hard for her to start a long-term project that will necessitate a mess. She may run her sewing as a business and sell her completed projects. She likes to store everything in pretty color-coded bins and baskets. She's likely to shop for organizing items at the Container Store, IKEA, or from the Better Homes and Gardens line at Walmart. She spends more time searching Pinterest for ways to decorate her room than she will making projects in the room when it's finally decorated. Fast first projects. Label all bins and baskets if you haven't already done so. Set up specific zones in your sewing room. Establish separate areas for sewing machines, ironing, tools and notions, and fabrics. Declutter your sewing room, going zone by zone to determine if you have items that you won't use again. Donate anything you don't need. Optimal organizing tools. Shopping tip. Organized people tend to go overboard when shopping for organizing products. Before shopping, determine what supplies are already on hand and what you actually need. Remember, organize first, shop second. Decorative bins, baskets, and unique organizing products are good choices. Consider using an organizing product for a purpose other than what was intended, such as storing fabric scraps in a clear over-the-door shoe holder. Put a dry erase memo board in a strategic spot to keep track of projects.
I think we finally found the personality that is Lindsay.
I am an organized Olivia. I have no shame. So we're going to be back next Wednesday for our last Get Organized video, which we've had a blast. We're going to share block 4 on our quilt along with the finishing instructions. We're going to share our last organizing personality.
And we have a really fun wall organizer project that we're going to share with you.
And we're going to be sharing some of your best storage tips. So stay tuned. We'll see you all next week.